Showdown over Charles's coronation, Meghan's ultimatum to Harry, it's me or the royals. Harry and Palace pickle over coronation invite for one. Hello and a very warm welcome to Kate Middleton and the Queen News Channel. According to Palace insiders, Meghan Markle is fuming right now over proposals for Harry to go to King Charles's coronation without her. And Palace insiders say that the squabble is really making things difficult in their high-stakes marriage. According to sources, Harry the Duke of Sussex is considering going solo to London for the 90-minute ceremony provided he gets a front-row seat and he isn't shunned as a total outsider. But Meghan finds it disgusting that Harry is even thinking about the palace's one-sided plan, according to a courtier. The courtier says, apparently she finds this proposal insulting and typically manipulative, since it's forcing Harry to choose between his current family and attending the coronation. And to make matters worse, the date of the occasion falls on the 6th of May, and that, of course, is their son Archie Fishel's 4th birthday. Another source says they were planning to have a party for Archie with some of his little friends and their parents, and Meghan wants Harry there to help. How would it look if he bailed on his own son's birthday? I suspect Meghan will not be happy if Harry takes the bait and attends the coronation. And as National Enquirer has already reported, King Charles expects his younger son to go to the coronation. He wants to put an end to all of the turmoil in the family due to Harry's recent memoir, Spare. We hear Harry is on the fence about whether he wants to go without his wife and family, according to the courtier. But apparently there is still a lot of talking that needs to happen between Harry and the palace, and especially his father. And Harry is requiring reassurances that he's not going to be shunned or put into some kind of lousy seat. But of course, the royals have their own plans, and that really seems to be a problem for Meghan. We are hearing that Meghan feels like if Harry gives in now, the palace is going to keep leaving her off of invitation lists. And the source says that ultimately Meghan would prefer for Harry to remain home. And if he does otherwise, supposedly, Meghan thinks that Harry's choosing them over her, and she finds that totally unacceptable. Sources say that it is a very difficult situation for Harry. It seems like it's a no-win situation. The courtier explains the way the royals choose to approach this situation will ultimately affect how this all plays out. So if they issue an ultimatum to Harry, then he's got to sneak in without Meghan, and that will almost certainly guarantee that he's not going to show up, unless he does the unthinkable by going against Meghan's orders and putting himself in trouble. He's in a very tough spot because by attending the coronation, it sends a powerful message he still cares and ultimately wants peace. But if anyone thinks they can just play games behind Meghan's back, they are sorely mistaken. And another question people have been asking is, do Meghan and Harry plan to sue South Park? Well, probably not. I mean, to not kick up a big fuss would go against everything Meghan stands for, but still, even they have to realize this is a horrible idea. Trey Parker and Matt Stone have managed to rip people into shreds, and they have remained out of court for longer than Meghan and Harry have known each other. Now, allegedly, Tom Cruise tried to sue them for their episode about him called Trapped in the Closet. I mean, they have upset entire religions, entire countries, and also very wholesome icons like Steve Irwin and the Virgin Mary, and they got away with all of it. So if Mexico and China and the Prophet Muhammad have left it all alone, then Meghan and Harry should really follow suit. I mean, who do they think they are? So if Meghan and Harry want to sue for defamation, they would have to prove they were demonstrably damaged by the show, not only embarrassed and not only having hurt feelings, but instead they would have to prove their reputations and their finances were damaged as a result. Now, considering that their ratings were already in the gutter after the docuseries, the book tour, and the book itself, I don't think they have a legitimate lawsuit they could file. It would be very difficult to actually quantify what additional damage came from Parker and Stone's show, and if they should be so idiotic as to spend lots of money on lawyers to defend their honor. The onus in the USA defamation law is for the plaintiff, so they would have to prove their case. Now, in the UK, it's a little bit different. The defendant would need to prove their innocence, and as a result, it's typically more difficult to win a defamation case in the US. So whenever a case is brought up, the principles remain the same. It is not defamation if, number one, if it's the truth. It's a clearly expressed opinion of the defendant. It's not them talking about somebody else's opinion. It is presented in such a way that a reasonable person could be expected to believe it or take it seriously. Now, parody would rely on number three. Parody is meant to exaggerate the truth or an opinion, and it's supposed to be funny. And the thing is, how could Meghan and Harry argue against ridicule without making themselves look even more ridiculous? They would just make it look like they cannot take a joke. I'll give you a concrete example. So there was a scene where the prince, aka Harry, was grinding his blue penis against a window. Well, how in the world could the real Prince Harry object to that scene without accepting that, in fact, he has been metaphorically shoving his penis in our faces thanks to his book tours and his book? And what about that protest with the kangaroos? I'm guessing that was a metaphor for the lone paparazzi on a moped in the parking lot. Meghan and Harry are very lucky that, out of respect to Nelson Mandela and murdered children, the USA was just depicted by the Statue of Liberty in a basketball game instead of focusing on Uvalde and that speech at the UN. I mean, that certainly would have resulted in the knife being stuck in even deeper, and they would have deserved it. But still, I think it's enough to allow them to make themselves look cheap, and they can leave the innocent people out of it. It seems like to me, rather than filing a lawsuit, they have returned to good old Sunshine Sack style puff PR. They're just trying to distract us. So we are hearing that Meghan might be pregnant. Okay, yeah, right. And we're hearing they got invited to the Met Gala again. I doubt it. Now, both of these rumors they can denounce as rumors, and then they don't have anything to do with them when they fail to materialize. As long as they can create a smokescreen for just a little while the excitement surrounding South Park dies down, then they think they're going to live to lie another day. In the past, the supposed irrational dislike of Meghan has always been centered on racism. But now apparently Harry's trying to take that back. Well, it looks like the Sugars need to find some new characteristic to ascribe to every single person who dislikes them. Fantasist is not a very good look. It's also just bizarre that Harry's trying to backpedal on the racism issue. I mean, the interviewer looked as confused as I felt. And I suspect that disclaimer was thrown in there on the very slim chance that sometime in the future, there could be a chance of getting some big amount of money out of Charles or William. After all, if we're supposed to believe that the media is to blame for pretty much everything, then I guess Harry's really not trashing his family so much. It has to drive them crazy to see what they are missing out on, and they are still hoping to have that 1 foot in, 1 foot out deal. I also do not understand where Harry gets off backpedaling on that. How did he come up with that? That Oprah interview they did was very clear. And then they also got that award from the RFK Foundation. So to do all of that right afterwards, yeah, that's crazy. And then, of course, the media. It's the media's fault that everybody dislikes Meghan. I mean, besides her being a manipulative, lying hypocrite, I guess she's a lovely person and she just wants to make a difference in the world. Okay. And really, there are enough real proven issues with this woman and this couple. We don't really even need to dig into the unproven stories about Meghan. I mean, of course, there's a photographic evidence of that bump that was falling to her knees. But you know what? If that is still a controversial idea, we don't even need to talk about it. And the same could be said for the forged birth certificates. We don't even need to go there. Really, there are plenty of problems to choose from that we have a lot of evidence of. And so I really don't understand what the obsession with these ridiculous ideas when there's more than enough garbage to nail Meghan and Harry to a wall. We don't really need to get crazy with it. And you, what do you think about this couple? Please share with me your opinion below in the comments section, and we can also discuss Harry and Meghan. If you think my video is useful, please remember to like and share with your friends and relatives who would love it anytime you want. And please subscribe to Kate Middleton and the Queen News channel to get more updates in the future. Now, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely day, and I will be back to see you in the next videos.